Hi, this is my book critique number 4 for EDU 318 Children's Literature. My first featured text is How Many Stars in the Sky by Lenny Hort. The genre is realistic fiction, and it features the story of a father and son exploring the town while the child's mom is out of town, and they're trying to count all of the stars in the sky. So the first lesson idea is in the content area of science, and students will listen to How Many Stars in the Sky being read aloud. They will be given a list of vocab words that they will need to look for throughout the story, and then they will discuss what they think a star is and gather as a group to learn about the contents of a star. They will then be taught that the number of stars in the universe is virtually impossible to figure out, and they will learn about the constellation of stars as well. And then they will create their own star map of how they would imagine that the night sky looked when the dad and his son were out counting the stars in the country and throughout the town. They will then research why the sun is a star, and this is mentioned at the end of the story when the son asks about it as well. For the next idea, students will look at their star map that they created and take an estimation of how many stars that they have created on their star map. They will then start counting and rotate their map and begin at their last number that they have remembered counting. This will allow the students to use computational estimation while seeing how difficult it would be to count all of the stars within the sky. The second book is Music, and it's an informational book that talks about the diversity and happiness that music brings, speaking about composers and instruments. And I think this would be a great introduction book in a elementary music classroom. The third book talks about Rosa Parks' life story, beginning with her having to give up her bus seat and her fight for equality and her demand that everybody be treated equally. And I think that this is a great book that focuses on treating everyone equally and also having dedication to achieve something that means a lot to you. The fourth book is The Tree Lady, and this is a story about the achievements of Kate Sessions, and she's a woman who grew trees in a San Diego park where everybody else in the area thought that it was virtually impossible for trees to grow there. And this story also talks about dedication and upkeeping a promise that she made as well. Snowflake Bentley is a story about the first snowflake photographer, and I think that this is a good story if you're teaching students about shapes or sizes, or you're looking at the differences in size of shapes of the snowflakes as well. And this is a biography about the man who was the photographer. Henry's Freedom Box is an inspirational story, and it's about Henry, who was a slave. He mails himself to freedom. And this story really focuses on equality as well, and the children can see how poorly slaves were treated and why there was a need for a fight for equal treatment. And they can also see the determination of Henry as well to reach that freedom. Blueberries for Sal is a really heartwarming story about a mother's love and worry about protecting her child. It also talks about Sal not understanding that the mother's trying to get blueberries to feed her child, as well as the other mother and child pair, and their journey towards finding their children. The last book is a great story that children can use their imagination to look through. It's a wordless picture book that talks about Daisy, who is a dog who has an obsession with her favorite red ball, which is her favorite toy. She has to take it everywhere, and it's her favorite thing to play with. And I think this is a good story to capture the idea of storytelling through pictures, and the illustrations had to be really focused in this story and able to capture that story.